We're back again on Friday Night Counterattack. I keep getting this name mixed up because we changed our names, but it's all well and good. We're happy. We're on another week of lockdown. We're stuck inside, and we've got one of our old friends, Salim and I, on today. So, Amar, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's nice to have you on with the show, and it's good to see everyone back again. And we just wanted to know a few things about yourself today, Amar. So we'll ask you that later on, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And it's just another week of lockdown. We're all stuck indoors, and we've got quite a fascinating topic to talk about at the end of this podcast. That's something that will be worth to stick around for as well. And today we're going literally back to basics and back to football. So we're just going to have a general chit chat about football to begin with. Then we're going to go into our little five-a-side again, as we always do. And then we're going to go straight into, first of all, how's your week's been? You both been okay? Amar, how you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Just sort of getting on with it, really. To be fair, you can't really do much anyway, so it's a case of making the best of the whole situation.
And you're another person on team work from home, is that correct?
Yeah, literally. It's coming up to about 10 months now, if I remember about right. 10 months,
yeah,
8 months, which is weird considering it's been over a year since COVID was first introduced to us, which is a bit ridiculous if you think about it. But again, we just deal with what we need to deal with, I suppose.
And how have you been dealing with being in lockdown at the moment and working from home?
It's tough because the thing is, it's very different from going into the office, because when you go into the office, you see, person X, person Y, person Z. You're used to seeing them. You speak to different people. You have that sort of social interaction. But whereas at home, it's the same people, the same sort of routine. Wake up, work, finish work. Okay, what do you do for the remaining 6-7 hours of your day? And just literally trying to make it as interesting as possible whilst also adhering to the rules, I suppose.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do at home as well. And with me, I've just been trying different things over the week and trying different things from last time as well. So like both of you would have me on social media, so that I'll be editing different pictures from different cameras that I've used recently, which has been quite fun to do. Recently got a new PlayStation 5, so you'll see Salim and I talking and playing PlayStation later in the coming weeks on YouTube. We'll be doing a club session, co-op seasons and whatnot. It'll be fun. It'll be enjoyable to see. But
I just want to jump in there. Actually, I was saying that we need to get FNC like pro clubs going or something. Have you got the PS5 now?
I've not had any opportunity. To be fair, I've not been that rushed to get one.
I'm surprised you've not got both yet.
No, not yet, man.
No, fair enough. I mean, hopefully stock comes in. I'm thinking about March time.
Yeah, well, again, stock's the main issue, isn't it? If you can't get stock, I'm not overpaying for one. I'll get one eventually.
No point. You'll eventually get one. It's just that, I've sort of missed playing pro clubs, if anything.
Yeah, pro clubs are so fun.
We're missing our fourth member of pro clubs, Waleed, who's not with us today, but we've got another fourth member today. And we've got Roheel back. Nicely done, Roheel. Thanks for joining the show. You're joined by Amar.
How you doing, mate? You good?
Not good, not bad. How about yourself?
Yeah, getting by.
Well, I've seen Sal smile. Sal seems so happy to see me.
Of course.
It's like he saw a ghost. He's like, oh my God, Roheel's back. I was just waiting for
it was like the introduction. It was like we were watching WWE or something, and he's like, "Oh yeah, look."
Just hear the glass shattering, you see him coming out of nowhere. Like a surprise entrance in a Royal Rumble.
It's like the Undertaker just coming in. Just everything just went black.
You just see him pop up out in the middle of the ring.
How have you been?
We've been good. We're just discussing how everyone's been going through lockdown and keeping busy and occupied during lockdown free, basically. How you been? It's been a while since you've been on the podcast. What you been up to?
Yeah, it's been some time, man. I was off ill for the first 2-3 weeks. I think I missed probably about 4 or 5 weeks of podcast. So the first 3 weeks I was off, and then last few weeks just been here and there, man. Obviously the house was busy doing things in the house, man. So managed to get some free time. Hopefully I'm back on more regular now as well.
Now, hopefully we'll get everyone back to normal. It's been good having you back, and it's nice to see everyone coming back eventually, because we've had a lot of guests that have come on the show and they've said that we want to speak to everyone. So they've obviously listened to our previous podcasts and stuff. So it'll be nice to get everyone back and asking them questions. What's been new with you this week? Did you end up seeing the Man United game on the weekend against Arsenal?
I did, yeah. Well, to be fair, I was on deliveries then, so didn't really manage to catch much of it. But yeah, to be fair, I was probably glad that I did miss it because I heard we were shit.
It was an awful game.
Yeah.
It was a waste of time, to put it politely.
Mm.
To put it politely, it was. I have a theory that Rashford just doesn't like passing to Cavani. It's happened in a few games recently.
I don't know why he didn't finish the chance. I mean, he had a sitter on a plate. He just had to tap it in, and he tried to take like.
Yeah, Rashford is on a bit of bad form, but you know Rashford, he'll still step up for you in most of your games. Like, all right, people say Rashford here and there, he's not consistent, but what baffles me the most is how Anthony Martial is still getting 90 minutes of football away from home.
That's a conversation. That's a whole other conversation. I don't get how he's.
All right, Rashford, regardless of how Rashford performs going forward, he will still give it his all. All right, he did it in the Sheffield game where he messed up for the goal, which he got criticism for. But in most games, he will still give it his all. He'll run around. He will still try. But with Martial, it's like he wants everything at his pace, and if the game's too fast for him, then if he loses the ball, he just won't give a shit.
He reminds me of a sense in like a much worse version of Berbatov.
They've got that Monaco connection where they're just lingering around the pitch.
But the thing is, with Berbatov, if you put him in a position...
With Berbatov, he could afford to. Why? Because Berbatov didn't need to work hard to get in good positions.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was it.
It's probably a bit like Cavani. I think with Cavani, though, he's probably not finishing as many chances as he should be. Mm-hmm. But with Berbatov, it was like that. He's had a striker's instinct to get in the position. Martial hasn't got a striker's instinct. You put him out on the wing. I think the only thing that's good to his game is his playmaking, but even the past few games, that's gone missing. Yeah. So it's just very frustrating watching at the moment.
Just going back to that Berbatov connection, you see that if you give 3 chances to Berbatov, you definitely put at least one away. Where with Martial, you don't know. Okay, which way is he going to go? Is he going to go to the left corner, or the right corner, or over the crossbar, or straight at the keeper?
The thing is, I don't think Martial knows himself what he wants to do when he gets the ball one-on-one with the keeper.
Yeah. For instance, I can't remember what game it was, but when Cavani loses the ball in an attacking area, and then Cavani's Martial gets it, has a heavy touch, and Cavani just takes it off him and passes it down to Shaw, who then crosses back in and gets a better opportunity, which I think it was the Arsenal game, if I remember correctly. It's quite recent, I remember, but it's like Martial would have shot and probably blocked it and wasted another opportunity, whereas Cavani had that predatory instinct. The shot is not on. The shot is not on. I'm gonna pass it out to Luke Shaw, whip in across, better opportunity. And to be fair, I think it nearly worked. It definitely didn't work because there was no goals.
It's a 0-0 game.
It was so boring.
Yeah, it's nice to see Cavani in the Premier League, and it's something that I hope that we can keep more than his 1 or 2 year contract. And with me, again, a theory for me with Martial is only the player that plays when he's feeling the love, and he's felt the love in that first season under Van Gaal, being the only striker we had at the club. And then until Rashford came through. And then last season, when again, he was the only main striker at the club until Ighalo came through on loan. So unless it's rather Martial's way or no one's way. And it's not nice to see that, because you want to see a player work hard for the team. There's that clip viral going around of him not working back properly against Sheffield United. When you look at the kind of strikers in the Premier League at the moment doing well, Bamford, Ollie Watkins, Callum Wilson getting back into the goals as well. You don't know what's going to happen with Martial from one week to another.
I'll take any number 9 in the Premier League right now for Martial. The guy's played 16 games for us. He scored 2 goals. One against Sheffield United away, who've been the worst this season, and one was against Villa at home. Which still amazes me, Sal, how the hell you let this guy score.
He's defensive error, isn't it?
Because he looks like, even when he scored, if you look at the 2 goals, the one against Sheffield United, that was a good goal because of Pogba's ball, and then the one was obviously Mings' mistake. He went too early. His header came to me, but he's still then. I don't know how to explain him, and it's really frustrating when I talk about it.
He was meant to win the Ballon d'Or, though.
He ain't winning no Ballon d'Or. That was Man United being clever. They thought we'll throw a clause in and get more of the price, because we know this guy's not going to win the Ballon d'Or.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did that with Diallo as well. Salim, have Aston Villa signed anyone this January transfer window?
Samson, haven't they, from our side?
Yeah, Samson, top signing, Champions League signing. I think Wolves wanted him for 40 mil last season, but it didn't happen, and we paid like 14 mil. So we got a good deal there.
He's the centre mid, isn't he, Samson? He plays with Kamara and midfield.
Yeah, he can do any of the roles in midfield, defensive, attacking, anything. But to get a player of that sort of talent, at Villa has been sort of a wicked signing for that price as well.
Yeah, 14 million is pennies, literally, if you think about it in like
yeah,
recent
it's a
transfers.
steal to think.
Yeah.
In this day and age, it
like
definitely is.
Champions League player as well. So yeah, he could only make us better.
For the record, Marseille finished 4th in their group this year, so they're out of the Champions League already. So he's got the experience, but he's not missing out on Champions League. And with Aston Villa going the way they are, they could easily challenge for European football. Anything's happening this season.
Yeah, could probably get Europa League or something. But yeah, no, good signing. I'm happy with it. I'm not complaining. It was a bit of a dead window. Not much else really happened in that sense.
Just thinking about it, like I can't really remember one other signing, obviously the Samsung, but you'd be hard pushed to even think that January football was on.
Yeah, Liverpool probably got 2 players in. Ozil's probably gone, and that Odegaard signing happened. But nothing special, though, isn't it?
Yeah, like before, like you don't really feel that special. That one signing that's just like hyped up throughout the whole January. It's just obviously
Bruno Fernandes, Van Dijk.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes most
Luis
recently.
Suarez.
Obviously, Ozil when he came to Arsenal. Yeah, exactly. It's there's just no buzz.
There's no buzz. I don't think anyone's really inclined to sell many of their players at the moment. They don't really need to do much because they want to just because all the games are coming thick and fast in every league at the moment. So they just have to carry on with the players that they've got. And Man United have loaned out a couple of people, but
there's that. But then the other part of that is that because we've got the Euros coming up in the summer, whoever wants to sort of start for their country will, want to move.
Tomori's gone to AC Milan. Lingard's gone to West Ham. Options are open.
I think they were good signings. I think Lingard's going to be a good signing there, and I think Tomori's going to be a good signing out there as well.
Tomori's already played a couple games as well, which is good.
Lingard's definitely going to bring something different to West Ham. You can have Souček flying in the box there for every header, and Lingard just really rocking in the middle of the pitch for no reason.
You know who looks very, very good for West Ham? I was watching the game yesterday. Ben Rama.
Yeah, I said all season that we should have signed him, but
he is so good on the ball. Like obviously we don't watch Championship football, so we wouldn't have known from last season. But like, he's very good on the ball, man. I swear, like I was watching him play, and I was thinking, this guy the way his ball control is and how hard he is, if he carries on like that for a consistent season, I can see him being signed by one of the top clubs.
Yeah, I think we could probably sign him after then.
I said one of the top clubs.
That's what I said. We could sign him after.
You knew that was coming. But Ben Rama's got that Payet aura about him as well. I reckon it'll be quite good in a couple of years to see how he does, and is a fun player to watch. West Ham are a fun team to watch in general recently.
Yeah, I think with them now as well, they've pretty much got a spine, which is probably what they've been missing for some time. They've got good centre backs, they've got good players in the middle. They got 2 good wide men now as well with Bowen and Ben Rama. You got Antonio as well. And then obviously now they've thrown Lingard.
Rice, Souček.
Yeah, Declan Rice. Then Declan Rice and Souček in the middle. And let's say, for example, you got Lingard playing up there at number 10. What more could you want from a West Ham fan?
And we all know Lingard is one of the hardest working players on the pitch as well. So he's always someone that will give 100% in every game. Doesn't matter what he does on or off the pitch. Is the hardest worker that you'll see on the team.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think West Ham finally got it right in terms of like some of the players they bought haven't really like played for the badge. Like you got like Arnautovic, he'd turn up one week and then one week he wants to join China or some Chinese club, and then you've got
Jack Wilshere. Going, I don't want to be in a relegation battle. That annoyed me so much. He barely got a game, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to be in a relegation," and he goes to Bournemouth in the Championship. You're like, okay, calm yourself down, Jack Wilshere.
We had that Felipe Anderson who sort of like gave up. Apparently, he stopped playing.
Hot and cold, yeah. He was very good in some games,
they paid 40 mil for him. So
yeah.
He had good potential, man. He had good potential. I think it just shows you can have so much talent, but if you haven't got the attitude to just put it in, week out, in the hardest league in the world, you're going to succeed.
Because I have seen him play well. I wouldn't say he's a bad player. Like you don't just give him a bad player over one bad game, but I just don't think he was committed to it.
It's the attitude, yeah. That's what it comes down to. That's number one.
There's another luxury player that they bought recently, and it gives credit to players like Craig Dawson or Creswell or Antonio, who have literally been there and done it in the hard yards in the lower leagues of English football. And we all know Antonio's played in non-league football as well, and has worked his way up properly. And you can see him reaping the rewards of playing week in, week out Premier League football, and is the main man up front for them. So it goes to show that when you've got the right people at the club, things are going to go in your direction. And West Ham challenging the top 6 at the moment is, again, really refreshing to see. And we've had so many players from West Ham come and go. So this could literally be, like you said, the right core of the team. And if Declan Rice stays, I mean, Frank Lampard's gone, so he's not going to sign him. So it's just something that West Ham can end up just building around. West Ham with Rice and Souček in the midfield, Bowen, Benrahma on the wings. It's good to go.
On that note, actually, I think Lampard should have been given more time.
Ooh, are we going to talk about Frank Lampard? Go for it.
I don't know. I just think he probably deserved a bit more time. If you think, like, the signings haven't gelled, that's probably the first problem. He's not got a consistent team, so that didn't help him. But it was his first sort of bad patch, and they were top of the table last month or the month before or something.
They had the unbeaten run as well with Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
And
I feel with Frank.
No, I was just going to say, with Frank Lampard as well, it's the same as with Arteta and Solskjaer. The fan base is all reactionary. We're losing games, dropping points in the table. Should get rid of him. With Arteta and Solskjaer, they stuck with him. But with Abramovich, everyone knows what it's like, and they got rid of him. What I really don't like is, you know how everyone goes on about Mason Mount being like Lampard's teacher's pet type of thing? I find that really annoying personally, because he's actually a really good player. He's a fantastic player and has done so well for Chelsea and England in his short span so far. I know he used to play for him at Derby.
I think it's credit to him, really. Obviously, yeah, all right, he was with Lampard at Derby and he's coming, so he has got a good relationship with Lampard, which is probably what you'd expect. Because if he didn't have a good relationship, there was no chance he would have brought him back to Chelsea and started him. But I think it's credit to Mason Mount, because imagine you're Mason Mount now, you're back in the Chelsea team, and you've got Havertz coming in, you've got Ziyech in, you've got Kovacic, you've got Kante. They're full with midfielders. You're probably thinking, and he spent 50, 60 million on each one of them. You're thinking, am I even going to get games this season? And then you look at him stepping up. Obviously, Havertz hasn't been his best. Ziyech has been on and off. Obviously, Werner's dropped form as well. I think that's where you probably got to give players like Giroud, Tammy Abraham and Mount credit, because, all right, they haven't been killing it almost every game, but they've stepped up. And I think Chelsea could be in a far worse position if them players didn't step up.
100%. And even with players like Thiago Silva coming into them, and he's literally been there like every other game, which is nice. And Tuchel will change it around. We've seen how he's playing differently. He's got more possession in his team at the moment, and changing players around, like bringing in Alonso, Hudson-Odoi playing as a wing back, and it could be refreshing to see Chelsea go for another FA Cup charge. I'd say.
Yeah, it could be refreshing to see an attacking team from Chelsea, because before they used to be quite counter-attacking, like similar to where United play sometimes, like let other teams have the ball and just try and hit them on the counter. But going back to what you said with Mason Mount, like the thing is with him is when you put him on a pitch, you know for a fact he is going to play for the badge regardless of who it's against, whether it's like a Championship side, League Two type. He would always put in 100% to make sure that he does his best, and if he feels that he's not playing his best, he'll step his game up, which is a quality you want as a manager. If you see that week in, week out, or every training session, you think, you know what, why would I not pick him over some other players that you feel are they're a bit out of form, because he just do really well.
And again, it goes back to the Antonio thing. When you work through the leagues or when you've trained in different clubs and different environments, you're not going to be the first choice player all the time, but he's made himself that first name on the team sheet, Mason Mount. And if Tuchel can work without him, he does. But if he can't, and Mount ends up becoming a better player, it's better for us as England fans to see that in the Euros coming up, which is nice to see. Also, I just want to talk about Willian at Arsenal. I think Willian may have been like one of the worst signings I've seen this season. I know the season isn't over, but seeing Willian play over the last couple of weeks has been awful. So I'm really glad that Smith Rowe and Saka are in the Arsenal team. I find that, again, refreshing to see young talent coming through and not always going for the free transfer or the experienced players. So it's nice to see a refreshing Arsenal team coming up as well. So credit to Arteta for bringing the young players through.
Just touching on that, I think with the Willian situation is a bit awkward. And I think like you've seen him do decent at Chelsea. I think even his last season, he'd still pop up obviously with goals. And I think if you look at Arsenal, it probably wasn't bad business, because I think a lot of Arsenal fans are complaining, why did we get Willian in? What they have to remember is they're still paying for Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah,
they're not really owners where they'll come out like Abramovich has, probably like obviously they have at City, where they'll just come out, spend loads of cash. And I think they probably looked at it as a good squad player that they can use. And I still think Willian's a decent squad rotational player for him. He's got Premier League experience, he's a title winner, and he's good experience probably to have someone to be around, someone obviously like Saka and Smith Rowe. But I think Arsenal fans probably are a bit too hard on him. So obviously, yeah, he still does need to fix up on his performances, but I think they are a bit too harsh on him, in my opinion, anyway.
I was just going to say, like what Roheel says, to be honest, I think he'll be a wicked signing for the younger players. But I don't think he's done too well so far. But maybe he's just adapting to a different system. But yeah, it'd be a good guy to have, on the training pitch, especially with the youngsters.
It's one of those things. Like when you saw the Southampton Premier League game, there's that bit where Pepe was going through like 3-4 defenders. I don't know if you remember or if you saw it, but there was that bit where he goes through 3-4 defenders and Willian is just jogging alongside him, which I found really annoying. And that's something I learned from my Arsenal preview last week. And thanks for telling me that, Luke. But it's just the fact that his work rate isn't what it was at Chelsea. His take-ons and his shots and his assists aren't the same because he's not putting in the effort. And when you learn that from like Arsenal fans, that's why I kind of understand why they're annoyed. Because when I watched the Arsenal game, I was like, he's doing more of a defensive work than an attacking work. And he did really well against Wan-Bissaka and Rashford on the right as well. So we'll see if it works out in the end. But I'd rather see Willian play as like a squad member than starting every now and then.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the Arsenal fans are comparing his performances, rightly so, to his days at Chelsea, where he'd consistently put in a shift and he would be a threat. Whereas now I feel with Arsenal, it's his retirement fund, and he's just living because personally I think he had a choice of a few clubs to go to, if I remember correctly, and I think the only reason he chose Arsenal is because it's in London, and London's quite a favourable place for a lot of these top footballers because of the location.
On top of that, it was the length of contract. So Chelsea only offered him like a 2-year deal. I think Arsenal offered him a 3-year deal. So he opted for that.
It was a 3-year thing, I remember now. And he's got his restaurant in London, so he didn't really want to go that far from his own restaurant. So that could have been a thing. Speaking of South American players, there's been a signing for Brighton today. It's Moises Caicedo, who's a young Ecuadorian centre midfielder who's done really well in the Copa Libertadores. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Libertadores. That's somewhere where we wanted to go on our podcast travel, Salim, if I remember correctly, going to Brazil or Argentina to watch a game. But he's gone from Independiente to Brighton, and Man United were linked to him as well. But everyone's kind of raving about him as well. 4.5 million for a centre midfielder who's probably in the same ilk as Basuma for Brighton at the moment. So again, hold midfielder, can take on everyone and is quite pacey. He scored a couple of goals as well, and it started already a couple of games for Ecuador, which is really good to see.
But I guarantee you one thing: 4.5 million for Brighton would have been 25 million for Manchester United. That's probably what they're doing.
Definitely. 100%. Yeah, it's the fact that when United come knocking at your door, you're like, okay, we know they're loaded. So that 4.5 million, let's move that decimal place over one place to the right, and let's make it 45 million.
I don't think it's just that we know you're loaded bit. I think part of it is we know you're Ed Woodward, and we know that you're probably going to pay whatever we.
That's very true. Bit of a soft-hearted negotiation.
Paying the Ed Woodward tax, basically. That's how it would end up going.
Yeah. Soft-hearted or incompetent, I don't know.
And we'd probably get some like Ecuadorian sponsor as well, knowing Ed Woodward. He's like, oh yeah, we'll link two clubs together.
Liverpool now, they needed centre-backs, right? They left it late, but they still went and secured 2 centre-backs, one on loan, one for, I think, just under 2 million.
Yeah.
If that was Man United, they probably would have forked out
40 million for Mustafi.
20 million each on two centre-backs, and you wouldn't have heard of them before. But that's what happens when you send people to negotiate a football deal down.
They want football fans, they're businessmen at the forefront.
Exactly.
To be fair, we've been speaking a lot about South American footballers as well recently, and you see a lot of them in the Premier League, which is good because you see some that have settled down and some that haven't, like Felipe Anderson we mentioned, and some that have just been there forever, like David Luiz and Willian. So I figured, we've got 4 of us today. Let's do another 5-a-side, 6-a-side, as we haven't done that in a while. So what do you reckon? 6-a-side Premier League? We'll do one each, I'd say. Yeah. I'll start. So I'll go
so far on this season, or
all-time Premier League. Let's keep it all-time Premier League.
All-time Premier League.
Yeah. So a lot to think about. For me, let's start with Alisson, because it's rather Alisson or Edison for me. I can't really think of many South American keepers. Let's go for Antonio Valencia. He's been there since forever as well. Right midfielder, right winger, right back, Wigan, Man United. Won the Europa League, won the Premier League a few times, did really well with Wigan when they came in the Premier League and was a key man for them. Midfielder, got Fernandinho in mind for some reason because he's just been there, done that forever, and it's someone you wouldn't want to play against on a 5-a-side, always doing those stupid fouls that he does, which is annoying.
Tactical fouls
and never gets booked. Veron's also in there, but I'm not really thinking of Veron at the moment. Could go for. I'm definitely going to go for Aguero because Aguero is probably going to be Man City's all-time.
Well, it's guaranteed, isn't it?
Yeah,
legend at this
probably
point.
get a statue of Aguero's coming soon for him. I want to say this will be controversial, but I want to say Alexis Sanchez for his Arsenal days, not his Man United days, because he was insane.
Peak Alexis Sanchez, yeah.
That was peak Alexis Sanchez.
I enjoyed watching him. I think United ruined him.
I think he ruined him when he came with that mercenary mentality.
He ruined him. He ruined himself.
Yeah. Sanchez ruined himself, definitely there.
So if you've got big balls and you're gonna put yourself out there and make a huge statement like Van Persie did, Van Persie came and he backed it up. Sanchez didn't. That's the difference.
Yeah. He definitely had a picture of himself.
Sanchez was giving him chances.
He had so many chances as a winger, as a striker, as a starter, as a bench warmer. It just didn't happen for him. It's annoying. Under Solskjaer, under Mourinho, and he just missed that Arsenal days when he was the main man. So who have we got? We've got I'll go for Gilberto Silva, actually. I think he was amazing for Arsenal in that invincible team. So who have we got? We've got Alisson, got Valencia, Gilberto Silva, Aguero, Sanchez, and who else can I go for? There's a few, but I don't want to say his name. Roheel and I have said two names that we don't say on this podcast. They're both Liverpool ones, Amar. So one...
Yeah, I gathered. Because he comes in all United attire, so I gathered there won't be Liverpool names. One's the one that slipped, and one's the one that bit Chiellini. So I'm not going to go for the one that bit Chiellini, even though he was amazing. But I'm not saying his name. It's like saying a swear word. Who have we got? James Rodriguez? No. Firmino? No. Coutinho? No. You know what? I think I'll go for Carlos Tevez. Tevez on the Man United and Man City. He was immense as well. Tevez, Aguero, Sanchez on the front three in a five-a-side team. No, six-a-side. Yeah, we'll go for that. Alisson, Valencia, Gilberto Silva, Alexis Sanchez, Carlos Tevez, and Sergio Aguero. So that's my very flamboyant and explosive attacking team, but no defense.
Oh, you wait for Roheel. He probably won't put a keeper in. No, Roheel.
Yeah,
no, probably won't. I'll be honest with you. I can't think of a South American keeper that would like to put in.
I can give you one.
We know who's gonna go. I need a drum roll.
Here we go, lads.
Need a drum roll.
You know what? Let's just go to Sal because he's gonna have Emi Martinez in there. He's gonna have Douglas Luiz in there. He's gonna have God knows who else.
One Pablo Angel is gonna put in there as well. That old.
To be fair, he was a great player back when he was playing.
I'll go with my team. So I've got Alisson in net, obviously, and then in defence, I was gonna put Fernandinho, but then I think there's a better sort of Brazilian midfielder than him now, so it's Douglas Luiz.
Oh my god, the one that Man City got rid of.
Get rid of him? He couldn't get a work permit. No, Pep wants him back.
Does he have a release clause in his contract?
Yeah, but it expires in June.
Got to keep him.
And then the three in front were, I'd go for Alexis Sanchez, one of my favourite players to play in the Prem. Carlos Tevez and Luis Suarez.
What?
And then what?
Should we kick off now or later?
I can't really complain, but...
And then up top, well, to be honest, it was a tough one between Suarez and Di Maria, but Di Maria didn't really do much.
Now you're just doing this to annoy us. You're literally just doing that to annoy us. I know what you're like.
No, but there was some good there was some honourable mentions, like obviously Coutinho is an honourable mention, and then you've got like...
Firmino.
I don't know. Firmino, and then... Yeah, there were some other players, and then up top, it had to be Aguero, one of the best, probably, in my opinion, probably the best South American to play in the Prem.
I'd 100% agree with that. It's been immense, and for 10 years of his game playing at Man City, he's done amazingly well. So he's had his injuries here and there, but he's always performed for them, just not in the Champions League.
Yeah, no, agreed. There were like other players, but it's probably like the best thing I'd probably go for. Like Coutinho's obviously like really up there. But,
I wish he stayed longer, Coutinho. Coutinho's a player I love to watch, but again,
he was too desperate to get out, wasn't he?
It's like Thiago. I really love watching Thiago, but I hate the fact he's wearing a Liverpool shirt. That annoys me so much. They're both really good players to watch.
Oh, and actually, another mention was probably Zabaleta. He was a class player, I think.
He was immense, Zabaleta. Did so well for Man City over the years. Got Ramirez at Chelsea. You got Oscar. You've got Willian David Luiz of all people. Otamendi. Rafinha at Leeds United, Hernan Crespo. I
forgot about him.
Let's we might as well let Roheel or Amar, whoever wants to go next.
I'll go next. Why not? So keeper definitely gonna have to be Edison. I feel he'll be for a 5-a-side, 6-a-side would be better than Alisson. I can't think of a solid. Probably David Luiz as a centre back, and then maybe Fernandinho next to him.
You don't mind David? I wouldn't mind David Luiz actually in the five-a-side when you think about it, because he's got those long passes and he's got those dipping shots as well. But it's just, again, you don't expect many good defenders at FNF or at football.
Well, to be fair, it's six-a-side. It's not going to be like a close 1-0 game. There's always going to be goals regardless of it. Now, here's the thing. So
you've got 3 to choose from.
Literally. I would pick Coutinho and then Aguero and Falcao up front, literally little and large up front.
Why? Why Falcao?
His time at Atletico Madrid was absolutely phenomenal. He was such a beast there. Now, unfortunately, obviously due to his injuries and stuff like that, he wasn't able to translate that into the Premier League. But I just feel for a six-a-side, if I had to pick him and Aguero's just like skillful little runs and like how his agility compared to like Falcao just getting the ball, just turning around, just smacking it as hard as he can. I feel it would be just a really solid team, and just Fernandinho to sweep up with everyone, and then Coutinho to like just do a rainbow over someone randomly for no reason.
Coutinho with those finesse shots as well would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Falcao and Aguero are similar heights as well. I think you said little and large. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're similar heights.
No, for some reason I feel like Aguero's quite small, but it could just be that his build, and then compare it to Falcao.
He's small. I think he's like 5'7" or something, or 5'9" probably.
Yeah, like Falcao's like 5'10", 5'11".
But he's got that low centre of gravity in it.
Yeah, that's probably why when you see him like running, he looks just tiny, but he's just so good.
As well, you know.
Yeah, man, absolute unit.
Yeah.
So Edison, Luiz, Fernandinho, Coutinho, Falcao, and Aguero.
Go on, Roheel. I know you've got Gabriel Ain't in there somewhere.
Nah, I'm gonna go with Sergio Romero in goal.
Best number 2 in the world.
Emmy.
Then at the back, I'm gonna put Rafael da Silva.
Oof.
Like, when you look at this guy, he is not built whatsoever to be a Premier League footballer. But I think for Man United, he was immense. He won a lot with them. Very good player going forward. And obviously coming back as well. I think for a small guy, he was underestimated as well. Could always put a tackle in. So I put him for a 5-a-side game. I think he'd be perfect up and down.
He played every game with his heart on his sleeve, which I loved about him. And the fans loved it about him as well.
He also had a bit of a good shot on him as well, as we've seen on numerous times. So yeah, put him in there. I'm going to say Fred. I'm not just saying it because he's a Man United.
It just sounds like a United six-a-side team from South America.
Imagine picking Fred over Douglas Luiz.
That's what Brazil do. They pick Fred over Douglas Luiz.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they do.
Douglas Luiz starts over Fred.
No, in what? In the international friendlies against Japan.
No, honestly, he starts like, I know the Emmy Martinez one I was a bit wrong about, but this one I'm right. I'm telling you.
I don't think anyone's gonna believe your stats after last time, mate.
No, I miscalculated that one. But this one I can.
That was a big miscalculation. You said that Emmy Martinez was capped, but he's never played for the first team.
No, but he said he's so confidently, like Emmy Martinez has played about 20 games for Argentina.
Amar, I'll show you the clip later. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious.
It was cap. I'll be honest, it was cap.
Yeah, so we've got 3 in there at the moment. 3 more. I'm gonna say Coutinho's gonna have to go in there. As much as I hate Liverpool with all my heart and passion and everything, but I think Coutinho is one of them players you love watching. I remember going to the Europa League game against Liverpool, and we were up 1-0, and we were all over him, and then all of a sudden, ball gets played through for Coutinho. He drags it and chips straight over David and he ended the game there. But I think he's a brilliant player. What he did in the Premier League, and obviously he demonstrated last season as well at Bayern Munich what he's capable of. I just don't think he's worked from a Barca, whether it's the system or them playing him out on the left or.
Yeah, I hate him out of the left. I hate when they play Cam attacking midfielders on the wing. It's awful.
Them changing his position. But yeah, I don't think he's worked from a Barcelona. But yeah, wouldn't mind seeing him back in the Premier League one day, as long as it's not Liverpool, because I think he's still got in his locker to be a good
United top, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so continuing 2 more. I'm gonna say it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say Aguero, brilliant player. Obviously he's probably made City who they are. He's City's biggest ever legend. That pretty much says a lot about City and about Aguero as well. And then my last player, I'm gonna say Diego Forlan.
Yes.
Purely for them 2 goals he scored at Anfield. Literally, just
Can I
do
just
that.
add something?
He's
Can I
had
just
a
add
chance.
something?
He's had a chance for him just for them 2 goals he scored at Anfield, and that's
Can I
small.
just point
6
something
aside. So
out?
we got Romero, we got Rafael, we got Fred, we got Coutinho, and then we got Tevez, and we got no,
You
not
said
Tevez.
Aguero.
We got Aguero, and we got Diego Forlan.
Can I just point something out? So Fred hasn't been called up since like 2018 or something.
Fred hasn't what? Yes, he has, man. Stop lying.
Roheel, don't do
He's got
this
a
to us.
Salapedia up, man. He's got
Like,
Salapedia
if you
up,
read the
man.
headline. Read the headline. Fred hasn't given up on Brazil
I
call.
don't believe that. I don't believe
Samba.
that. Scorebot, Samba bot, whatever it is.
Samba bot. Are they reliable?
Off me.
Honestly, he's not played for Brazil ever since like ages, man.
He's not
So
Alright,
that don't make
his
sense.
last-
You just said he hasn't played
last
for
call-
Brazil since ever in ages.
His last call up, right, was in the 2018 World Cup and he didn't even play.
So
So you
Fred
just
went
like,
to the World
you
Cup.
know-
Fred went to the World
Yeah,
Cup.
but he just
Has Douglas Luiz been to a World Cup? The closest he's been to the
16.
World Cup, man, is watching it on his TV at home.
He was 16 at the time. So yeah, Fred. Let me find out the last time Fred played for his country.
Wait, so Douglas Luiz is 18 then, if he was 16 at the time. What, 2 years ago? 2.5 years
He's
ago?
like 20, 21, isn't he?
Oh, he's 21, I think.
Yeah, Sal's probably made
You
it
know,
to
you can't trust any facts that come out of this guy's mouth. If he says Sal, it says 100% fact, you know it's 90% a lie.
I'm surprised he hasn't said that Douglas Luiz won the World Cup with them as well.
Back in 2002.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
He was there with Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, Kaká, everyone.
All right, so Fred's last cap was in 2018, and Douglas Luiz starts for the team. So that just proves that, you know, it is, everyone thinks that they're a baller until somebody like Douglas Luiz comes along.
Oh my God.
So as Roheel would say, keep it moving. Keep it moving.
What happened to Douglas Luiz at Old Trafford? He got turned by Pogba and he had to file him.
Nah, it wasn't a foul. It wasn't a foul.
It was a foul. He just chopped his leg. Didn't get any of the ball. It wasn't a foul, bro. That's fine.
But even Douglas Luiz.
Amar, you don't understand these guys. We've got a basically football group and it's full of Villa fans and I think me, Arif, Hamz, and probably a few others, but they really talk are the only United fans in there. And this must have gone on for about, probably I'll say a week, where every day
after the game.
Every day these guys would send about 5 different angles of the file. Look, even he's run away. About 5 different angles of the file and saying, I still can't believe this is a foul.
But even Douglas Luiz he posted it on his Twitter account about it, and he put.
Yeah, but I could post like a pig flying, but doesn't mean it's true.
Oh no.
He goes, I'll translate it because I.
Look, he's even gone to search for the tweet.
You know, I don't trust Salim like with his translations. Man, got facts wrong. He's lying right now.
I'll translate it. He says, I see this video. I can't believe it was a penalty. I always root for fairer football with fewer mistakes, but then I stop and see these types of moves. If we have VAR to help, let's start using it correctly. These mistakes can define the future of clubs.
He just got a hiding from Dean Smith in the changing room.
Hold on.
Dean Smith just went in on him.
I mean, it's so clear.
What's that? Isn't he also a Villa player? The fact that they managed to get a goal disallowed against them and actually managed to keep him up in the Premier League.
Like Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Talking of VAR decisions, didn't you get one in your favour on the weekend against Southampton?
No,
that offside.
So, you know, they see the lines one way, but then when it's for them, they don't see it. Then
at least the guy with his absolute dump truck.
Aston VAR.
Why didn't Douglas Luiz post about that we need fairness in the game and it could affect the future of clubs and this and that? Why didn't you do that? Because the team won in it. So there you go then.
Nah, justice was done this weekend.
Justice, you know.
Offside is offside at the end of the day. Offside is offside, right?
Yeah, no, it is, but like
we've had so many of them go.
The penalties. Yeah, think about it. If you're a player in the box, whether I've poked you or whether I've kicked you and you go down, it's a penalty because there's contact that has caused you to fall on the floor. It's a penalty, and that's exactly what happened to Pogba. He clipped Pogba. Pogba tripped over his own foot and he went down. It's a penalty. If he didn't knock him, it would have been a penalty. Game happened ages ago.
Initiates the contact.
Talk about it. You don't understand how pissed off I am that you let Martial score. And I'm a Man United fan.
They felt sorry for him, you know. They felt sorry for him, like you're
a Man United fan. And Amar, you know the best thing is, you know, lead up to the game, all Sal was saying is, you guys call Martial, ice cold Martial. What's he done? And the only person who scored a goal against is them.
Salim calls Martial ice cold, no goals, and we find it hilarious on the group. But then he scores a goal in that game, which is you can't make this stuff up. You really
literally
can't.
can't.
Proper
It
thing
was
to happen to
spectacular.
Salim.
But then it's like it only happened against Villa, but then no other teams will score against.
Yeah, it's-
I can actually
He
see
has
him going to
some
Villa
sense.
Park and bagging 2-3 goals. And
Back
then
in a
they
hat
won't
trick
score
in
for the
like
rest of the
5
season.
minutes.
But you know, if
Someone
like
no
we just
goals.
score a worldie, Sal will somehow say, "Yo, it's offside," or like you can't shoot from that
Offside.
far, or he'll say something like that.
Keeper blinked.
These guys
Was
will
off
have
his
the
line.
these guys will have the conspiracies. I'm telling you.
I love Salim's excuses, man. That honestly, sometimes just listen to him
No, but we got
talk about
robbed in
football.
it. But let's not
It's
talk
so
about that.
funny.
Let's not talk about that.
It literally brings joy to my heart just hearing his excuses, man.
Okay, so
And the
listen.
thing is, I'm not even-
All right, listen. I've got a question for you. If you lot miss out on top 4 by 1 point, let's just say, you're gonna come back to the decision and blame that on you.
Nah, there's been like 6 decisions I've gone against.
You
it.
saw that
No, but
thinking in his head, like, oh, no.
you will come out with that one
See
and
the
doing all of your
wires
faces
moving in
in
his
it.
head. Is like
It's gonna be one of them.
the process.
Just the YouTube
Yeah, all
buffering
right,
logo.
that's fine. It's gonna be one of them. So when people say, "Oh yeah, Villa stayed up because in an important
Yeah, but
game
that's different,
they wasn't
innit?
given,"
Why
how is
does
it
everyone
different?
keep talking
How is
about
it
that?
different? Because it's the same thing, and the worst thing is that wasn't even VAR. That's next man's watch not working. That's what
That's
takes the
not my
piece the
fault.
I
most.
forgot, but you know what he
That's
did?
probably-
Honestly, what he did? Flip the batch down, put him in upside down.
Yeah.
That's why.
And I'm
I don't know,
somehow
that's not my
surprised.
fault that was pissed off.
Somehow I'm surprised Sal didn't say, "Oh yeah, it wasn't a goal."
Where's the justice in
It
that?
is.
It was a goal. It was a goal.
Oh bloody hell, you're right. He's got some
I'll
self-respect.
admit it's a goal. I'm not gonna lie. It was a goal and it was over the line.
Oh
You
man.
That's
sure
it.
nobody
But then
fouled? You sure nobody fouled any Villa players leading to the ball going into the net?
No, but then we had like 8 decisions go against us last season.
It's counted them as well.
I
It's
think
literally.
he's got them written up on a whiteboard at home.
He's like VAR, like 8, Villa 0.
It's like one of those detective Sherlock Holmes ones where you can see all the wires going across the wall. It's like this has led to this.
You know
this has
that
led to
meme where
this.
the guys turn around with the
Yeah, but
pinball behind
imagine you
all the
lot just
red
lost to
lines.
Sheffield United. You
Look
lot
right
lost to
now,
Sheffield United.
he's got a pen in his hand, lads. He's noting everything down. What are you writing
All I'm
down,
saying
sir?
is, look-
I think you know what it is. He's drawing the ball
Salim
line.
Holmes.
He must be drawing the ball line from Sunday's game to convince us it
All I'm saying-
was offside.
There's a long way to go this season. I know that you and Arif celebrated winning the title 2 weeks ago, but that's ended.
All right, show me proof for that celebrated winning the titles.
Arif defo celebrated it.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
Arif defo
you can
celebrated.
speak. That don't mention my name. Then talk about Eric. But I've never said we're gonna go on and win the title. Obviously, you're top of the league. You're gonna be happy. You are top of the league. I think after the first game, you're going like you're gonna win it.
Arsenal were top of the
Yeah,
game,
if it
top
wasn't
of the
for
league
VAR,
before
we may have.
the first game. They were second,
Sal
closer than a big man.
still thinks they're gonna win the league. Believe it or not.
If
That was from
if we
episode
had
1,
proper
which is the
referees,
funniest
if
thing.
we had competent referees in this country,
Yeah,
like
then
really,
Villa
like
will be in
if
the
we had
championship.
like average level referees in this country, we'd be miles ahead, man.
Villa would have been in the championship because the
Nah, we'd
decision.
be so far.
No,
we'd be so
no,
far.
no,
It'd
no,
only
no.
be like- it'd be
No,
like
Villa
2
would have been in the
points clear or
championship
something.
because the competent
Put
referee
it
would
this
have
way.
seen that was over the
Well,
line
that's point.
and
If we
called
had
a goal,
average,
Sheffield.
you're saying if we had average referees, if a referee's watch his battery didn't die, you'd be playing championship football right now. If you want to put into that
Exactly.
context, yes?
That's the point. You can't
If a
blame
battery,
doesn't
if a
work,
battery,
when you
if a
survive
battery did
on
not
a
die on
technicality.
if a battery did not die on an electronic device, you would be playing in the championship right now.
You'll
Yeah.
be playing against Wickham, Wickham
Let's
and
move on.
Akinfenwa just bullying.
Let's move on.
Means versus
Nah,
Akinfenwa.
Salah's getting bullied, man. You know, let's move on. I think it's safer for everyone.
Yeah, Amar, the reason I invited you on today is because obviously we've known each other for a long time and you've been a supporter of our podcast since the beginning, which is brilliant. And we thank you for that. But the main topic of our conversation today was just the fact of loneliness and the fact that like 3/4 of the country are in lockdown at the moment. Like they've got no job or they're on furlough and things like that are just happening to them. And with a situation like with myself living with my wife and there's only 2 of us in the city that we don't have no family around or the only people we see are the people at Tesco's. We just wanted to get the perspective of how we can combat with loneliness because again, all of us have been friends for a while now and we all talk to each other. And like Roheel said, there's a group of us on Friday Night Football where probably 4 of them are probably just the main talkers, Neil, Salim, Arif, and Roheel. And it's just
I'm
fun
not
to
surprised
see.
Salim's on that list.
Oh, it's like 2 Villa fans versus 2 Man United fans, which is fantastic to see. And the rest of us just keep quiet until it's like a Friday night and football's on. But because
No,
football's been
And
off,
then
and
there's,
let me rephrase that. Sorry, it's 2 Man United fans versus two people who support anyone that plays against Manchester United. That's the truth.
Neil is that guy. Neil is that guy.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
That's cap. I'm not taking that.
Because you know the truth is, Amar, if Villa play and they lose the game, we wouldn't even think about going into the group. But once United will be losing, not even at the end of the game, once they're losing, you are going to the group that there'll be 20, 30 messages.
It's like, Amar, basically, it's like all of the times we've gone behind in the game, like West Ham and Brighton and all of that, you just get spam on the group. It will just be spam coming in. Oh, Solskjaer out.
Record. Like, we've gone behind, the United have won. So, you should at least calm it down a little bit when you see us go behind. At least wait till the 90th minute.
Ironically, the only time they didn't do that is when we lost to Sheffield United last week, but we won't talk about that. We won't
that's because they lost early in the day themselves.
They're like,
too upset and too down.
We got robbed again, innit?
Yeah, but I'm surprised you didn't come into the group and say you got robbed.
Nah, we just... Yes, I was saying, so there's basically 2 Villa fans, 2 United fans, and then you've got a West Brom and Birmingham fan as well. We've got the Birmingham fan right here in the bottom.
Everyone laughs, please, a silent joke. This is in front of me funny.
Should I put the laugh emoji on the Zoom?
Yeah, put a laugh emoji.
Don't worry, Hamza can edit in the laugh track over it, it's fine.
edit
Eventually I will. And then you laugh anyway, Amar.
I was laughing at my own joke, man. This is how I get by with loneliness.
Nah,
joking.
That's not a joke. That's serious. That's humour to yourself, Amar. But yeah, it's one of those things where this week the last few weeks, I've been practically really happy with myself at the moment. The fact that I'm keeping busy with the podcast, I'm still doing my English course. But yeah, it's really fun at the moment because I've been keeping myself busy. But I know for a fact not everyone's in that same situation. There are people at home who are probably listening to their podcast or they're watching football and they're seeing the BT Sport games coming on. And this week, BT Sport got all 10 games in the Premier League. And on their advert, which I realised I got captured by really, it's a hashtag beat loneliness and join the BT team. We're not advertising BT or anything like that. I'm not with them in anything, but it's just the fact that they are courageous enough to open up about, they've got their presenters and they've got their pundits talking about loneliness as well. So I thought we could do something like that as well, in terms of if you're living by yourself or if you're feeling isolated at home or if you're struggling at the moment mentally, psychologically, we've got other ways of trying to pass the time, keep yourself busy as opposed to just playing PlayStation or watching football all the time, as much as we all have football. But there's so many different ways of keeping yourself occupied. So recently, because my English course is finishing in like 2 weeks, so I'll literally just be playing PlayStation. Recently got a PS5, which is great, but doing little things like cooking different dishes and reading a new book every now and then. People have forgotten that you can read a book with just paper as opposed to like on a Kindle or on your phone on the Google Play Store. Little things like FaceTiming one another. This is why I'm in such a good mood today, because I haven't seen Amar since September, October time, which is crazy. Yeah. And I haven't seen Roheel since the beginning of January as well. But it's been great that Salim and I have just been carrying on with the conversation on our podcast and having different guests on. It's fascinating to learn about them, but everyone has their own ways of coping with being lonely. So not everyone's going to be living by themselves, but people can still be lonely if they're in a busy household. So Salim, what have you got to say about that? Have you got any thoughts or any hints or tips of combating loneliness?
It is tough. I think it's good. Like it's good to know, like, you've got sort of friends around you and stuff, and obviously family there as well. Obviously, it can be hard to talk to people at times, and some people don't really understand like the things that you go through mentally. But you know, like, you could always pick the phone up and just chat to your mates, or like our WhatsApp groups always so good. Like when I feel lonely, I just jump on the FNF chat and just
say something about United and get everyone all hyped up.
Just trigger the
do
chat.
A bit of fishing, and then sometimes I catch. You know, you get a big catch like Roheel with his cap on, and it's just stuff like that. But if not, then there's other ways to do it. I mean, obviously playing like sport and gym and stuff is probably like the best way, I think, to sort of interact and get together with people. But if not that, then you've got like, I mean, if not that, you've got your online gaming and stuff, which always helps too. So
yeah, because I'm one in the minority that disagree on that. Like, I feel even more distant when I'm playing with my friends online and talking to them on a party on FIFA. Like, because you're talking to them while you're playing. Like, Sally, we may play later this week on FIFA, and I can't wait for that because it's been years since we played together on FIFA. But you can still end up feeling a bit distant from them, because even though you're playing with them and you're talking to them, you always have to log off and you always have to speak to them at a later date and arrange a time. But for me, I don't. But whenever that's why I don't.
I think it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, 100%. But like with me, I find better ways of like, again, communicating through Zoom or through a normal conversation. And Salim will know, and Roheel will know, and everyone on our podcast will know. I'll message anyone at any time, and I don't really care because I know they'll get back to me, and I know that they don't mind it. Roheel and I'd say Roheel, Vish, and Safian have had to kind of get used to me messaging at random times and calling at random times, and they don't mind it. No, that's only for you, Amar, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, that's fine. No, but that's good. At least I know I'm special.
I know you're awake at that time, so it's easy.
Nah, nobody kills it like the morning messages you get from Salim. Like, Salim would tag me on something on Instagram at like 4:30 in the morning. And I'll be thinking, what? I was going to this guy because
you know what?
It'll be like a picture something to do with Man United and like referees or something. And I'm thinking, this guy stop thinking about Man United.
Nah, it's like if I see something good in the morning, I'm probably gonna lose it by the time I wake up or forget. So I'm like, let me just send it now to make sure.
No,
I
think last time it was Bruno and a few refs talking, and they were like, "Oh, look, United team talk happening here." It was something like that.
Well, but I'm surprised you tagged him in that.
That joke's a bit old now after that Liverpool free kick. But yeah, it's just nice and it's refreshing because we get a lot of people in our family and our friends that are too kind of stubborn in a way to open up and to talk about stuff. And we've mentioned mental health previously, and again, we're a football and a mental health podcast, but with the facts of loneliness, little things like literally just like, for example, I've done 2 previews for football games recently, one with Liverpool and one with Arsenal. Both of them were with friends from my secondary school who I hadn't spoken to in years. So that's just a big thanks to Amino and to Luke for being able to come onto the show with us. And it was nice because you just felt the connection just like that. And I've been doing that recently on my WhatsApp. I've been calling family members who I don't normally talk to properly. And it's just refreshing because you get to learn more about them and how they're doing in lockdown and what they've done differently. And my sister-in-law is a really good example. Really, she'll buy a new book every now and then just to keep her mind occupied. And sometimes you like identify with like film characters or book characters, or you want to learn something different, like a new skill. And it's fantastic because we know what the situation's like. We've got people, loved ones who are ill or they have to isolate, and it's awful to hear. But Roheel, what would you say in terms of combating loneliness? Have you got any hints or tips?
Yeah, just kind of like, I think with all of us, like if you go back to our normal routines, well, whenever normal was, I think you go back to them routine, like we all like would get angry or frustrated or like sick and tired of something, but everyone like would have their go-to where they'll just be, obviously release it and like be able to be themselves. I think a lot of people are struggling to do that with obviously the lockdown right now. Like with myself, obviously, as we all are, we love playing football. And like me playing like 2-3 times a week to like not even going once. And I can imagine obviously the amount of people that obviously can be going through that. Even like something pretty normal you can look at like is just someone waking up and going to work and spending like 5, 6, 7 hours with their work colleagues.
Yeah, you mentioned that previously, which you thought was very beneficial as well.
They're going from that to obviously just waking up, logging on your laptop and being on there for 5, 6 hours with no one around you. So I think it can have a massive effect on people. I think people who are probably stubborn to see it, it doesn't make sense. Why? Because even if you may not feel that way, just always obviously be mindful that someone else could. So yeah, just be there for your friends, reach out to them, because we're living in times now where, I'll be honest, we don't know what's around the corner. So yeah, man, I think just be there for your friends. And if you're one that is suffering from it, then don't feel afraid to reach out to anybody.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Just don't be afraid of it at all, because we've got so many people in our lives that we don't really appreciate until we need to really.
A situation like this happens where, like Roheel was saying, like some people going to work for them wasn't a safe job, but they get to see someone different that they wouldn't normally do. Like, for instance, like obviously with jobs when we were all used to work together, like us three wouldn't have been friends if we all never worked at that one place. And you'd have friends with some old school people that you never really speak to anyway. So it's difficult.
There's so many ways of combating it, and there's so many ways you can beat loneliness as well. But I didn't really take it seriously until you see like news reports coming out. Like, it's not just old people suffering from loneliness. The age demographic from 16 to 24 is one of the highest at the moment in terms of loneliness in the world, let alone just in the UK. So it's probably just getting off social media every now and then. It's not always just playing PlayStation or watching TV, and having human interactions as much as you can do, really. And even if it means going on a Zoom call, or like there's little features that I didn't realize that are quite good. Like with Disney Plus and Netflix, on their app, you can actually share your viewing experience with someone. So you can actually watch something at the same time as someone in another household. And like you can talk about the film like you would normally would at the cinema, or little things like that. I think BT do the same thing as well. If you've got a BT account, where you can literally just watch a game in the same house, and different ways of going through it. If you had to go away today and someone said they were lonely, if you had to name 3 different things to do, what would you recommend?
I would say the biggest thing will be a change in the routine, because that's the thing that makes you like more lonely, because you literally wake up, do like the A, B, and C, whatever you do, and then you just feel like you're repeating the same day, like a Groundhog Day, just going through it over and over and over again. So like if you'll change your routine, like if you're working from home, and if you're lucky enough to have like your own flat or living by yourself, maybe just try like every 10 minutes or so, just go into like a garden, or just take a little walk, take a break, go get something that you wouldn't normally do. Obviously, if your job allows it, just go do and just take like a small break, go get some fresh air, go take even if it's a 2-minute walk around the corner, just that 2 minutes away from everything, just walking can have that massive impact that you don't feel sort of as lonely as you would before.
Definitely. Change of scenery, which is brilliant. Salim, anything you have to add to that?
My top tips would be probably just sort of reach out to your friends. Like, you don't need to feel, embarrassed or shy about it. It depends on what your friends are like. But I mean, if you're one of my mates, you can sort of reach out to me anytime you want, as long as I'm not, unless I'm like sleeping or something, I should be able to get back to you. And
tagging memes at like 3:30 in the morning.
You
so
need to speak to somebody at 4:30 in the morning. Ring this boy, you'll answer the phone.
Is the Brown Samaritan basically is up 24/7?
Yeah, potentially. Then if you want to call me at that time, you can call me if it makes you feel better. But yeah, no, I think it's just interesting to sort of do that, but then like sort of do different things as well. Like I just bought that All on the Board book, which is quite good. I've got it here with me somewhere. I can get that. I used to do a lot of jigsaws when I was younger, so I sort of bought 2 jigsaws, which I want to do as well. Just
brilliant.
Something different, I guess. Yeah, that's my tips.
Is one of the jigsaws or Jack Grealish?
It's Jack Grealish, VAR, and a Villa badge. That's all he's got.
No, it's not.
It's that referee that had his battery die on that goal. It's him, Aston Villa, and Jack Grealish. That's all it is.
I don't think they do them anymore. I think it was sold out.
So they brought all of them. That's why.
Villa fans went crazy. He sold them like the PS5s. He just sold them in bulk on extra for like a good £200-300 more.
His Facebook Villa groups, he just thought, got this the local Villa hero referee, whoever it was, staff them up quickly.
Roheel, any tips for combating loneliness?
I was going to probably say exercise, like in any shape or form. I think regardless of your age or condition or anything like that, I think everyone can obviously do whatever exercise they can, whether it's obviously just go in the garden, go for a walk, or whether it's go for a run. I think with that, just have a routine of it as well. If it helps, like wake up, probably go outside, go for a walk in the garden, go for a run around the block. Whether it's even like do something like sit-ups at home, something like that. Just
the Joe Wicks PE shows are really good as well.
I think, with that, I think with probably if you're lonely and you're not doing anything and you're just sitting, like for example, with your eyes in front of the TV all day or just playing PlayStation or something like that, I think you're just building everything up. I think when you're doing exercise, it's like you're taking energy in, but you're releasing something as well, so it's refreshing for the body. So yeah, I'd probably say exercise is probably one of the ones on the top of the list, if I'll be honest with you.
Brilliant. And one for me, I'd say just try and get in contact with old friends and family members you haven't spoken to in a while. Just update that WhatsApp list that you've got, because you've got the same people at the top all the time. Just freshen it up a little bit. And again, people will be courteous in the way that they can be. And it's refreshing when you get that, when you get people that, I haven't heard from you in ages, but they're not angry about it, if you know what I mean. You know what Asian people can be like, you haven't spoken to me in ages. What's going on here, Hamza? I'm like, calm down, it's been the month, but it's fine. But you get those kind of people.
You go first.
No, go first.
No, I was just going to say, like, one kind of way to look at it in terms of loneliness, like you're alone in your own house, but really are you lonely because there's millions of people all around the world going through the same thing you are. So in that kind of sense, if you look at it, you're not alone. Yeah, you may be physically alone, but there's so many people out there that are going through the same, and just reach out to people, socialize with people, connect, stuff like that, because there's so many people that could be going through exactly what you're going. I never ever think that you're on your own, you're the only one that's going through it, and that could be another psychological way to look at it that could help.
Yeah. Like just to touch on your point, like a simple hello message could be that turning point in someone's like day,
definitely.
like like that change in routine. Like it could be like, oh, I'm not seen from like this person. Oh no, what a surprise, and it sort of shocks you out of that like robotic cycle a lot of people tend to find themselves in a situation like this.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it was just something that most people appreciate at the time, but it's just something that you can work on, and you can probably learn different things about different people you haven't learned from in ages or spoke to in ages. So that's another refreshing thing. I think that's a good way to end it. I think that was very positive, a very good positive way to end it. So again, if anyone's lonely, you got the Samaritans.
You got Salim's number. Just give him a call at any time. He'll
be there for you.
I thought I just plugged the book.
Plug the book.
Yeah,
all on the board.
I thought I just plugged that.
So just tell us what the book's about for those who don't know.
It's like inspirational quotes from the TFL. So there's two guys that sort of they're unmasked now, and they used to write at random stations, like, random sort of good messages and stuff. So there's all sorts of like different topics, like raising awareness, love, real life heroes, legends, mental health. And yeah, there's loads of like amazing, I just flip my camera over. There's loads of like amazing things in there. Just get there. So you can see like there's loads of, different messages for however you feel. So you just pick how you're feeling, and then
I've got that new book smell through the camera already. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's unrivaled.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Nicely done, Salim. Amar, thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks for joining us. It's nice to see you. Roheel, thanks for coming back. We look forward to seeing you again frequently coming up.
Back, lads, and good seeing you all, man.
It's refreshing and enjoyable, and I've laughed a lot more than I have in the last week or so because of Man United's poor form, which we will not mention, and we'll end the podcast there. So thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
See you later, lads.